Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Cori from A Walk in the Park, full service doggy daycare in Maumee, Ohio. We're still working away at those 10 videos on the most common behavioral issues associated with dogs. Today's topic, our third video, is on chewing. So today we're going to explore why dogs chew and what you can do at home to help that problem. Now remember, I'm going to say this in every video, there's no such thing as a bad dog. There's only dogs doing normal dog stuff. And if it doesn't really fit into the scope of, how we see a dog should behave, then that's kind of one of those conflicts that we have in bringing an animal, a dog, into our home and kind of hoping that they learn to be people. So we have to make some exceptions here for behaviors that dogs do naturally and encourage them to either do them in an appropriate way or figure out some other outlet so that they aren't performing these behaviors. Now, let's dive right into some of the reasons why dogs chew in the first place. Now, chewing is, of course, as natural a behavior as any of them. We all chew. Now, we aren't going to go chewing excessively on our furniture, where your dog probably does or may do. But chewing for dogs is one of those behaviors, kind of like digging. If you've watched our last video, kind of like digging is kind of a fun behavior, something that they want to engage in. So with it being a natural behavior, you're at a little bit of a disadvantage because you can't really stop it from happening altogether. They have to chew, they want to chew, so we need to think of ways in which we can allow them to perform that behavior in an appropriate way. This natural behavior is especially important for puppies. It's a very high incidence of chewing in puppies and young dogs, especially as puppies go through the teething process. Now, that can be a painful process, and if you've ever had a baby or been around a baby, you know that teething makes them cranky. It makes them put everything in their mouth. It makes, their fingers, toys, things like that, other random things that they find, they go in their mouth and they gnaw at them, and it kind of helps to soothe those gums and help break in their teeth. And the same is true for dogs and puppies. Just like human babies explore the world with their mouths, so do puppies. So they're going to put their mouth on you. They're going to put their mouth on their furniture, your furniture, their toys, your shoes, your remote, things like that. There's really no way to stop it entirely from happening. But again, we can find a way to make it more appropriate for them so that they learn what things they can chew on and what things they cannot. So as they explore with their mouths and they're cutting their teeth, that's probably reason number one why dogs will chew, especially those puppies and young dogs. Another reason is boredom. And this reason has popped up in all of our behavior videos so far. So you might be sensing a pattern here in recognizing that your dog is going to need physical and mental exercise to eliminate boredom, therefore eliminating destructive behaviors. Chewing is probably one of the number one destructive behavior that clients will report as far as their dog, having issues with their dog in their home, chewing on things. Number one destructive behavior. And it's almost always as a result of boredom if it's not a result of puppy teething. So we're going to take a closer look at that shortly. Another reason is anxiety. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into forms of anxiety in a later video, but that one, if you have eliminated other reasons why your dog is chewing, if you've followed some of our suggestions and you've done some of your research and you've identified or at least eliminated some of the reasons that we've discussed, anxiety could be that underlying issue. Okay, so you may need to take a closer look at your dog's environment and their lifestyle. Find out, what is happening around that time that they start chewing something up or becoming destructive, and looking at what may be worrying them in their environment that's causing that behavior to happen. You possibly may need to seek out professional help if you've kind of identified that it's an anxious response to something in the environment, and we can also help you through that as well. Now, what you should do and what you should not do. Again, reason or point number one for what you should not do. You should not yell and you should not punish. Again, if you haven't heard this before, it can only do harm to your relationship with your dog. You will cause your dog to fear you, and they will be less likely to respond to you and your directions if you are yelling. They're going to block out, they don't understand what it is you're saying as far as the actual words you're using. They're only seeing your wrinkled up eyebrows and your hands on your hips and your angry face and your angry voice. They're only seeing those things. They're not internalizing any of the other information you're giving them. So we have to be aware of what our intentions are and how your dog may perceive them. So that yelling, those punishment tactics, they just don't work. Just don't do it. Keep it positive. We're going to find an alternate way to deal with the situation. So make sure that there's no underlying health issues that could be causing your dog to chew. Make sure nothing's going on with their teeth or their gums that's causing them to chew on stuff. If a puppy is trying to break in a tooth and it's not going very well for them, they can develop abscesses and infections and things like that. So you want to make sure that there's nothing like that going on first and foremost, because all of the training in the world is not going to help if your dog has an underlying health issue that is causing them pain or other forms of anxiety that can be helped by getting them healthy. Okay, so no training is going to work in this instance. So first eliminate that as a reason that it could be happening. Then next, you're going to manage the environment. Okay, nobody likes to hear this. When owners report to me that their dogs are chewing, that they've gotten their shoe, they've gotten their remote, they've grabbed socks out of the laundry bin and they've shredded them, nobody likes to hear me say this. It's kind of your fault. Unfortunately, we can't place all of the blame on our dog. You left your shoes out. You left the remote in an accessible area. You left the laundry in an accessible area. And then you didn't supervise. That's kind of the long and short of it. And I don't mean to be quite so blunt, but honestly, you need to take a really good look at what's going on in your dog's environment. If you've left something within your reach, you can pat yourself on the back because it's your fault. So manage that space. You're going to have to put your shoes away. You're going to have to put your slippers away if you're not wearing them. You're going to have to put the remote up on the TV stand or at least out of reach of your dog. Keep your laundry bin, in the bathroom closet or in the laundry room behind a closed door, at least until you've helped your dog understand the difference between what is allowed to be chewed on and what is not. And that's kind of the best option, at least to keep your possessions intact through this process. So on the flip side of that, do provide plenty of things that are appropriate for your dog to chew on. Lots of chew toys, lots of bones, things like that, especially if you've got a teething puppy. They may go through these things quickly, so you want to be able to have access to backups when they're needed. Be sure that you're supervising your dog. Okay, if you know your dog is notorious for, chewing on certain things, make sure that if your dog is going to be maybe in your bedroom where they could have potentially access to your closet where your shoes are, make sure you're supervising them when they're in that space. Pay close attention. The only way you can address a behavior, correct it, modify it, reshape it, is if you are present to see it happening. Okay, so supervision is going to be key. And then do provide training and exercise to exhaust their mental and physical energy. If this is a result of boredom, again, there's really one solution, and we've kind of talked about that in our past few videos, that mental and physical outlet is going to be key. So enrichment, things that they can chew up. One great way to kind of mentally and physically exercise your dog and use their meal times to do that, so it's really not any extra expense or effort on your part. Save some of your cereal boxes or your 12-pack boxes, things like that. put their food inside of those boxes. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. Spread it out between a few boxes. Maybe some boxes don't have any food in it. Pile them up into a stack, spread them around the house, change up the way that you're offering these foods. But if they can really tear into a box and then they're rewarded for that by accessing their food, that's a really fun way for them to not only get their meals, but it's kind of, challenging them mentally to search and find, and then physically to kind of tear and shred, which is really what they want to be doing if you have a notorious chewer. So, get creative, really think outside of your box as far as offering your dog alternate solutions to this behavioral issue you may be experiencing. If you have other questions about chewing, and destruction as a result of chewing, go ahead and give us a call at our facility, 419-475-4101. You can also reach me directly at 419-930-6229 or email me at training@awitp.net. We hope to have you back for future videos. Our next topic, let me see what we're working on next. Our next topic is going to be talking about inappropriate elimination. That should be a good one. So if you've got issues with that as well, we'll see you there.